This is If My People Bible Reading, Part 72. We are in the book of Leviticus, the Levites, chapter 24. Yahweh said to Moses, "Command the Israelites to bring you clear oil of pressed olives for the light, so that the lamps may be kept burning continually." The prayers, Yahweh wants continual prayers. That's your communication to Him. He speaks to you through your Bible reading, where you will get the answers through prayer and supplication. That is what happened with Adam and Eve in the garden. That's what happened with Noah as a righteous man. And that's what happens at the time of the book of Leviticus being written. And that's the way it's going to be for us today. This still applies. So the Old Testament is so important for you. This chapter until the very end of Leviticus is, we'll just name this redemption time, redeeming. And to understand what that means, a lot of people just use a word and they don't even know what it means. Let me explain that. If you own something and you love something and you don't want to give it up, but you are getting a financial situation, you take it to a pawn store, a pawn shop. And the pawn shop people will care for it for you, and they will take it and keep it until you come back to get it, to pay for it, and to pay a little bit more than what you got. So in other words, you redeem it and its value goes up. Okay? But you redeem it. It's yours again. It's always been yours. It's just not been in your control. Okay? That's us today. We are those of us who are hear and obey, those who are elect, those who are chosen before time began for mankind. The Father knew us long ago. We still have free will because our father, Adam, ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and because of that we have choice, and we all must make a choice. We are not saved or going to heaven because our parents did, or grandparents. We're not going to heaven because we attend a certain church and say a certain thing that's in their doctrines and so forth. It's a real thing between you and the Father through the Son. So that's what this is all talking about here. And it says the lamps of the pure gold lampstand of Yahweh must be taken care of continually. They are to take the flour and bake 12 loaves of bread using 2/10 of an ephah for each loaf. And there's going to be 12. Now remember, as we read before, there were 2. Today we are back to 2 again. Back when they were on the mountain, it was all the people were one, and they said, "We will hear and obey." And Moses heard it, Yahweh heard it, Yeshua heard it, and then they broke that promise. And the 2 loaves were all the people, and then all those grafted in that came with them from Egypt. All those people have the same access to the Father that we do. Now we are in the 12 tribes. And so you see the 12 loaves. 12 loaves are scattered throughout the world today, waiting to return to the land. Verse 9, it says, "This bread, it belongs to Aaron and his sons, who are to eat it in a holy place." It's not sit there and just to rot and be some kind of sacrifice like all other idols on the face of the earth. They're just sit there and rot. Here, it's for the sons. That's the way it's going to be in the millennium. Because it is the most holy part of their regular share of their offerings made to Yahweh by fire. Fire made the loaves of bread. Understand? You don't throw the loaves of bread in the fire. Okay. Having said that, that's my wonderful humor. Chapter 25 and 26, it talks about Shabbat for the land. The land need rest. Now, farmers understand what I'm talking about. People who live in the city, who've always lived in the city. All this stuff that's in the grocery store doesn't come from the factory. Okay, it comes from the land. And the land needs rest. And you follow the Torah, the commands, never-ending commands, as long as we live on this earth that the Father gave us in the Old Covenant. And it's said here again in Leviticus. Now these Levites, they are to eat from the fruit of the land, and they are to get the fruit of the land from the 12 tribes, because they are set apart, which we'll talk about in the book of Numbers coming up soon here, number 73, I think it is. And so with that in mind, all these laws, all these 613 laws, are of great value. We today, we are to continue to read the entire word from beginning to end, and we are to follow the new Torah. Now, the new Torah is something that most churches, most Christians have never heard of. And I mention it often here, and I show examples of it. New Torah. See, there's a book there. That book there, Who Break Roots Bible, fantastic, wonderful. I enjoyed reading it 5 or 6 or 7 times all the way through. Does it mention New Torah in it? No. Is it read by Christians? No. Why not? I don't know. But is it read by people considered Hebrew roots, Messianics, who do recognize Yeshua as the Son of the Father, and the only begotten one, and the one and only that came the first time and will come again? Not the Messianics who believe that Jesus is not the Son of Yahweh, but that their Son of Yahweh is coming for the first time soon. Just like Christians believe that their Son of Yahweh is coming again soon, the second time. You got to separate people. Just, are you Christian? You got to ask a lot more questions after that, because there's a lot of definitions of what that is. Are you Messianic? You got to ask a lot of questions to those after that, because they'll give you different answers, okay? It's a sad, confusing world that we live in, but who's the father of confusion? I think we know. And who's the one that's going to clean things up one of these days? Right there. Right there. Oh, by the way, Companion Bible, fantastic. Very good Bible. How many people read that? Not many. There's a group out there called the Shepherd's Chapel, and those people, many of those in that group read that, and they're blessed from it, very much blessed from it. So let's go to the new, in the back part of this If My People Bible. All through it, wherever there's a Torah command given by Yeshua, given to the Father, or by the Father to the Son, to us, it's in bold, it's very obvious letters. So let's take a, and then I put all of them, I listed them categorically. Let's see, I got to get rid of this first and bring this up. Okay, I listed them in the back. Let's see where we're at, page 1198. I listed them back categorically. So as you can see, like for instance, 7 abstains. You'll find it in Acts 15:20 about idols, eating blood, Acts 15:20. Troublemakers in the world, Romans 16:17. The reason I brought this up is Leviticus ends with a bunch of do not do's. There's a bunch of warnings throughout the book of Leviticus on what not to do. So many people say, oh, well, the Old Testament is a mean Yahweh, and his son, I don't know about him. He did not mention at all, which he is everywhere in the Old Testament. And there's a bunch of things you can't do. Everything's a big no. Well, first of all, we're brought up by our own parents learning no, because they don't say anything when you do things right. But when you're young and you say do things wrong, they tell you no. So you start hearing no before you hear the word yes. That's just what happens. So we'll go down to, like, these are all like B's. When you see be sober, be children of in malice, be followers of Paul as he followed Christ. When you love these B's are usually good. Be at peace among yourselves. Be at shalom. Be thankful. Be faithful. Be merciful. Be harmless. Be ready. Be perfect. Be recounseled. Be exceedingly glad. Be sober. Be sober and pray. Be gentle to all people. Um, all people meaning all people that act like people. And now people who try to kill you and murder you, that those people are at war with you. Different story there. And then there's 30. Don't do things. Be not like the hypocrites. Be not like the heathens. Be not deceived. Be not troubled. Be not afraid of terror. Be not many teachers. You go to some groups and home groups and full of people. Everybody they want you to hear what they got to say. They're not too much concerned about what you have to say. 5 things to charge, 5 things to consider, things to covet, the 10 do's, the 10 do nots. 10 do nots, where they at here? Right there. These are in the back of the If My People Bible, and we'll be going through this piece by piece. There are 1,000, let's get out of this. There are 1,050 commands, and commands means instruction. Instruction means Torah in the back of the Bible. And I'm just the only one here to represent all the people behind me that you can't see that we communicate with often. There are many people who understand it, but there is a great majority of Christians, Messianics, Hebrew roots, who don't have a clue they don't have a clue what I'm saying. They don't. And wow, I mean, how could they possibly miss that? My Messianic friends, they pay attention to the Old Testament a lot, and they totally ignore the front end. My Hebrew roots, they read some of the teaching they're supposed to from the New Testament. They're supposed to read all of it, and they pay attention to what the Messianic Jews tell them to read in the Old. The Christians, well, we're not under the law of those people, so they study the New Testament. And then for those who study the New Testament, who would totally ignore the Old, first of all, you're not going to understand it unless you read the whole book. And the most important part of this is those that are really good at quoting Scripture, especially anything in the New Testament. I'm looking right at the camera and I'm looking at you. And you're going to look at them. Say this. Are there 10 commandments in the new covenant? But Yeshua wrapped up in 2, didn't he? Yes, he did wrap it up in 2. Are there more than that? And a lot of them say no. Uh-oh. You just read a bunch of them that are right there in front of you, and the wording is no different than that of the Old Covenant and the under Torah in the first 5 books, starting with Genesis to Deuteronomy, the second reading of the law. It's all there. Wow. That's why we're doing this. Read it online. I have not seen it, and even from some fantastic groups that I follow. Let's see, what's one of them right there? Shepherd's Chapel. They don't mention them. They don't mention any of them as Torah. People are so afraid to use that word Torah. Why? It's just a word. Words mean things, though, so you got to pay attention to it. So the key point to Leviticus is, because of continued transgressions, the additional laws attached to the side of the Ark of the Covenant will be used to testify against them so that they may see immediate sin, immediately confess, immediate offerings, immediately correct, be repentant, and be restored immediately. His true Torah will never change, and until Shiloh comes, the sent one, his people will continue, hear and obey, and follow his regulations. And he did come the first time to establish a kingdom of priests, and he's going to come back. Not so nice next time to establish his government. We'll see you next. Blessings.